We know that Russians are behind the wire. You know what a real U.S. president would do? Say that C-130s are on their way to Niger today with the water and the medicine and the food our troops need, that they will have a full fighter pilot escort there. And if the Nigerian government or any other third world thug tries to even turn on their air defense systems, we should show those leaders and those thugs what the target package looks like on their houses and their family members, because it should not be Americans that are suffering because President Biden and Blinken are so embarrassed that their strategy in Africa failed that they're willing to let Americans' conditions deteriorate.
As the U.S. is forced out of Niger, it appears to be seeking a new foothold in West Africa, this time in Ivory Coast. Reports from Le Monde indicate that the U.S. has secured permission to establish a military base in the village of Odiané, near the borders of Mali and Burkina Faso. This location is of strategic importance, suggesting a calculated effort by the U.S. to maintain its military influence in the region, despite the setback in Niger. This move has not gone unnoticed by neighboring countries. Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré has publicly accused foreign powers of plotting to destabilize his country, pointing to a center of operations in Abidjan, the capital of Ivory Coast. His government is actively tracking a cell, allegedly operated by Western intelligence agencies, which he asserts is directed against Burkina Faso. These developments unmistakably point to a strategic realignment by the U.S. in West Africa, with Ivory Coast potentially becoming the new hub for U.S. military operations in the region. The consequences of this shift for regional stability and the broader anti-imperialist struggle are profound and will likely define the geopolitical landscape in West Africa for years to come. You see, the revolutions sweeping across the Sahel are sparking a new wave of determination among Africans, with Niger standing out as a prime example. Niger's leadership took a bold step by expelling French and U.S. soldiers and tearing up exploitative mineral contracts. The results speak for themselves: a staggering 12.8% economic growth rate, as reported by the World Bank, making Niger the third fastest growing economy in the world and the fastest in Africa. If you're wondering how Niger pulled this off following a military coup, let me break it down for you. So how did Niger's economy explode after kicking Western troops off their land? The answer is straightforward. Niger took control of its resources. The junta raised the price of uranium, a resource that has been ruthlessly exploited by foreign powers for far too long. The previous regime had settled for a disgraceful 5% royalty on uranium sales, an insult to the wealth of Niger. This revelation aligns with claims made by the late Wagner PMC's head, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who exposed how French companies were selling uranium at $200 per unit, but only giving $11 to Niger. But get this, the real figures show Niger was actually receiving as little as $0.80 per unit. It's scandalous. For those who might not grasp the full magnitude of this situation, what the Nigerian junta has done is nothing short of a modern-day revolution. This is exactly what Muammar Gaddafi did in Libya. After World War II, Libya was handed to France and the UK, with the British propping up the corrupt Senussi dynasty under King Idris. This so-called monarchy was nothing more than a puppet, with the British siphoning off Libya's wealth while leaving the people destitute. When Gaddafi overthrew this monarchy in 1969, he expelled the foreign powers and nationalized Libya's oil wealth. He turned the tables, ensuring that Libya's resources benefited Libyans, not colonial powers. The results were undeniable. Libya went from being one of the poorest nations in the world in 1969 to a regional economic powerhouse by 2011. The UNDP recognized Libya as a high-development country in the Middle East and North Africa by 2010. Literacy rates skyrocketed from dismal single digits to 88.4%, and life expectancy soared to 74.5 years. This is what happens when a nation has the courage to reclaim its resources and refuses to be exploited. Niger is on the brink of a similar transformation. By renegotiating its uranium deals and severing dependence on European and Western buyers, Niger is positioning itself as the next economic powerhouse in the Sahel. This is not just possible, it is inevitable if Niger continues down this path. Niger must be supported without hesitation in this journey. With the right backing, Niger will emerge as a modern Libya in the Sahel, using its resources to uplift its people and reshape its destiny. The time for half measures is over. Niger is leading the charge, and Africa must rally behind it. The tension between the United States and Niger stems from the latter's recent decision to expel American forces from its territory. To understand this, it's essential to look at the reasons Niger provided for this drastic measure, as outlined in a video they released a few months ago.